I've been thinking about how much we know about the brain, behavior, hormones, trauma, and how little that knowledge actually helps when we're lying awake at 2 a.m., trying to quiet a restless mind. We live in a time where everything is studied, tracked, and optimized. There's a neuroscience thread for every emotion, a protocol for every mood, a biohack for every system in the body. And yet, with all this access to information, something essential feels lost. It's almost like in trying to understand the mind, we've forgotten how to be one. We've built an empire of intellect but neglected the quiet, ordinary wisdom of being human, breathing, noticing, connecting, feeling. Dr. Alok Kanodia, Dr. K, describes this paradox so clearly. He says Western science studies the average brain, while Eastern wisdom studies your mind. Science maps the terrain of thought, but it can't tell you where you are standing within it. That's why data alone rarely heals, because healing isn't about information, it's about integration. There's a Sanskrit distinction that captures this perfectly: Vidya and Gyan. Vidya is knowledge, something you can learn or teach. Gyan is direct understanding, something you have to feel. You can read every book about mindfulness, but until you experience stillness in your own nervous system, it stays abstract. You can memorize spiritual truths, but until you live them, breathe them, they don't alchemize into wisdom. And I think we've forgotten that difference. We've mistaken intellectual mastery for embodied understanding, but true knowing is felt. It lives in the body, not just the brain. Dr. K also talks about attention, how it's the most valuable thing we own. Where your attention goes, your entire life follows. But right now, our attention is being farmed, hijacked by the noise of algorithms, devices, constant stimulation. We've turned our awareness into currency, and in doing so, we've weakened the very muscle that connects us to life itself. I think this is where we need to revert to simplicity, not as regression, but as return. To remember what it feels like to sit in silence, to cook a meal without a podcast in the background, to go for a walk and notice the wind, to just be without optimizing the moment for meaning or productivity. That's humanness. That's presence. And somewhere along the way, we traded it for performance. One of the most powerful things Dr. K says is that real healing doesn't come from reinforcing our identity. It comes from loosening it. In both deep meditation and psychedelic research, the most transformative experience is ego death, when the sense of I quiets and what's left is pure awareness. For a moment, you're not your story, your title, your to-do list. You're just consciousness experiencing itself, and that stillness, that nothingness is strangely full. We're so busy trying to build ourselves that we forget the relief of just being. And maybe the most humbling truth of all, most of our thoughts aren't new. They're habitual, vasanas, as Sanskrit calls them, echoes of past conditioning. We think we're responding to the present, but we're really replaying the past. Now, when a thought loops in my mind, I try to ask, have I had this thought before? If yes, it's not truth, it's a pattern. That one question feels like a small act of liberation, a pause, a reminder that awareness is more powerful than reaction. Neuroscience can explain the mechanics of the mind, but simplicity, humanness, reveals its essence. We don't need to optimize our way to peace. We need to slow down to remember we already are it. The most advanced technology we'll have is our awareness. So tonight I'm asking myself, what can I let be simple again? Where can I stop analyzing and start feeling? Maybe the next evolution of intelligence isn't about knowing more. It's about remembering how to be.